Kai was just an ordinary human technician. He worked on broken machines, fixed power units, and kept to himself. When he was sent to the alien research station on Moon 12, he thought it would be quiet and easy work. He was wrong. The station was built inside a mountain, glowing with blue alien lights and strange floating doors. The first thing he noticed was how quiet the place was. Too quiet. The aliens who lived there, tall, smooth-skinned people with glowing eyes, watched him like he was dangerous. They didn't speak much. They whispered in their own language when he passed. But one alien girl didn't look away. She stood at the far corner of the dining hall the first night he arrived. Her skin was a soft silver, her eyes bright like the sky before rain. She was beautiful, but there was something sad about her, like a candle almost out. Kai tried to smile at her, but she looked away. Her name was Lena. Later, a tall alien named Torvin walked up to Kai. His voice was low and cold. "Do not speak to her," Torvin said. Kai frowned. "Why? I was just being polite. She is inactive. You do not understand. If she gets too close to you, she will suffer." "What do you mean by inactive, sir?" Kai asked. Torvin didn't answer. He simply walked away, leaving Kai with more questions. The next day, Kai worked in the control room. While fixing a panel, he overheard two aliens whispering behind a half-closed door. "She will fade soon," one said. Like the others. Too late now. No one clapped her. Kai blinked. Clapped her? What did that mean? The word echoed in his head. It sounded strange, like a joke. But the tone in the aliens' voices wasn't funny. It was serious, heavy. He wanted to ask, but knew they'd never explain. That night, Kai sat alone in the garden room. It was quiet again. Glowing plants hummed softly. Then, he heard footsteps. Lena walked in. She sat on the bench, a few feet away from him. For a long moment, they didn't speak. Then she whispered, "You're the first human they've sent here." Kai nodded. "Yeah, and you're the first alien who said a word to me." She smiled weakly. "They fear humans, but me? I don't fear you. I envy you." Kai looked at her. "Why?" Lena's voice was soft. "Humans touch, laugh, cry, love. You don't die from being close. We do." He leaned forward. "What's happening to you?" She paused, then said the words that would change everything. "If I don't bond soon, I'll die, like the others." Kai's heart stopped. "Bond? What do you mean?" "It's not just love. It's connection, touch, energy. We call it the clap." She smiled sadly. "Silly word, I know." Kai's mind raced. The whispers, the warning. It all made sense now. "So if no one bonds with you," my body fades, piece by piece, like light turning off. He wanted to speak, but she stood up suddenly. Her knees shook. Her skin began to glow faint blue, like frost. On glass, Kai reached out to help her, but she fell to her knees. "Lena," she grabbed his arm weakly. "Don't let me disappear." Her fingers were cold, too cold. Alarms went off. The door burst open. Two guards stormed in and pulled Kai away. "You touched her," one shouted. "She was falling. I was helping her." They didn't care. They pushed him to the floor. One held a weapon to his back. Lena looked up, her voice shaking. "He didn't hurt me. Please. Let him go." But they didn't listen. As they dragged Kai away, he looked back at her glowing, trembling form on the floor, and something inside him whispered, "She doesn't need a hero. She needs a lifeline, and he might be the only one who can give it to her." Kai sat in a cold metal room, alone, silent, and confused. The guards had thrown him into a holding cell after he tried to help Lena. No one explained anything. No one cared. Outside the glass wall, alien doctors whispered. They pointed at his blood sample on a screen. One of them shook their head. Another looked frightened. But Kai didn't care about that. His mind kept replaying Lena's voice. "Don't let me disappear. He slammed his fist on the wall. What the hell is going on here? A door hissed open. Torvin, the tall alien from before, entered with cold eyes. You don't belong here, Torvin said. Kai stood up. Your people are letting her die. You know what's happening. To her, why won't anyone help? Torvin stared at him for a long moment, then sighed. Follow me. They walked through silent halls lit by a dull blue glow. Finally, they entered a hidden room, walls covered in glowing screens and floating data panels. Torvin tapped a display. A figure appeared, a 3D image of an alien girl lying still with her body slowly becoming transparent. This, Torvin said, is fading. Kai watched in horror as the image showed the girl vanishing cell by cell. Our females, Torvin continued, enter a stage called the transition. If they are not activated, their bodies begin to fail. They lose heat. They lose memory. They vanish. Kai clenched his fists. Why don't you save them? Because the only way to stop fading is through physical bonding. And our laws forbid bonding with humans. Kai stepped forward. What's the real reason? Torvin looked away. Because human touch is too effective. Your energy doesn't just stop fading. It creates something more. Kai's heartbeat picked up. What does that mean? Torvin turned back to him. Your kind, your touch, your connection, doesn't just restore them. It transforms them. It gives them power, strength, independence. Some believe it changes their minds, their hearts. So, what? You're afraid the girls will stop obeying you? Torvin didn't answer. Kai stared at the image on the screen, then whispered, And Lena? She is close to the final stage. If the fading reaches her core, she will not come back. Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed through the room. Emergency. In Sector 3, patient collapse. ID. Lena. Kai didn't wait for permission. He ran. Hallways flashed red as he rushed through the corridors, pushing past guards and medics. He burst into the room where Lena lay on a medical bed, her skin, now glowing bright blue, flickering like a dying flame. Lena! He ran to her side. She looked at him weakly, her voice barely a whisper. They said you were gone. I thought I missed my chance. Kai grabbed her hand. You're not gone. I'm here. Suddenly, a shock ran through him, an electric wave of energy traveling from her skin into his veins, but it didn't hurt. It felt right. Her breath returned. Her skin began to warm. The blue glow slowly faded. Doctors watched in silent shock. One whispered, It's working. From just a touch, Kai looked down. Strange glowing lines appeared on his arms, pulsing where her hand touched him. What is this? He asked. Lena's eyes opened wide. Your energy is changing too. You're not just helping me. You're becoming part of me. The door slammed open again. Torvin entered with soldiers. Step away from her now. Kai stood in front of her. I'm not letting her die. You don't understand what you're doing, Torvin shouted. I understand this, Kai said, turning to look at Lena. She's alive because of this connection, and I'm not stopping. Torvin raised a weapon. Then you've just made yourself an enemy of the council. Kai didn't move. Lena stood behind him, her strength returning, and for the first time her voice didn't tremble. Then let them come. The sky above Moon 12 had turned red. Sirens echoed through every corridor of the alien station. The voice of the council blared from speakers in a dozen languages. Unauthorized human-alien bonding confirmed. Subject Kai must be captured. Alien, subject Lena to be neutralized. Kai and Lena ran through the underlayers of the facility. Dark tunnels filled with old machines, dripping pipes, and shadows that whispered. This way, Lena gasped, pulling him toward a narrow shaft. They'll block the upper exit soon. Kai didn't ask how she knew. Her body was different now. Ever since their touch, something inside her had awakened. She moved faster, thought sharper. Even her voice had changed. It was stronger, less fragile. They slid down a vent and landed in an old maintenance room. Kai gasped for breath. They really want us dead. Lena looked at him with glowing eyes. Not dead, just apart. Forever. Suddenly a loud boom shook the floor. The door burst open behind them. 3 armored guards entered holding plasma blades. One shouted, "Do not resist!" Kai stepped in front of Lena. "Stay behind me!" A blade sliced through the air, but Lena moved faster than any of them expected. She raised her hand, and light burst from her palm, knocking the guard back with a flash of energy. Kai stared, shocked. "How did you do that?" She looked at her hands just as confused. "I don't know. I felt your fear, and my body just reacted." "Is this from the bond?" Kai asked. "Yes," she said. "But there's more. I can feel something, ancient inside me now. Something sleeping, waking up." The other guards rushed in. Kai grabbed a metal pipe and fought beside her. They didn't kill anyone, but the room filled with smoke and fallen soldiers. They escaped again. Deep underground, they found a sealed lab door. Lena placed her hand on it. To Kai's surprise, it opened at her touch. Inside was a hidden archive room, dusty, forgotten, filled with crystals and glowing tablets. On a table sat a holographic cube. When Lena touched it, a voice spoke. "Welcome, daughter of the Echo bloodline." Kai stepped back. "What is this?" A projection appeared. An ancient alien woman with a calm face and eyes just like Lena's. "Our kind is dying," the voice said. "They fear the bond with humans because it makes us complete. It awakens our true form, our ancient self, the Echo Soul." Kai listened in silence as the voice explained. Long ago, alien females were not weak or fading. They were powerful, creators of life and light. But a council of elders, fearing their strength, created laws to isolate them, to turn bonding into shame. "If she bonds," the voice said, "she becomes whole again." Lena's voice shook. "I was never meant to be fading, I was meant to rise." Kai touched her shoulder. "Then let's make sure you do." But before they could leave, an alarm tripped. The room sealed shut. A voice from outside crackled. "This is Council General Trell. You are surrounded. Lena of Sector 3, you are ordered to surrender for deactivation." Kai shouted. "She's not a threat. You're the ones trying to destroy your future." A pause, then a cruel laugh. "She is a threat because of you, human." A wall of the room split open, revealing a massive screen. Hundreds of files appeared. Videos, recordings. All showed other alien girls, also inactive, being taken away in secret, fading alone, locked in cryo chambers, never rescued, never bonded. Kai felt his blood boil. "You've been hiding all this?" Lena stared in silence, tears in her glowing eyes. "They never gave them a chance." Then her body lit up, not weakly, but with a blinding white aura. Kai turned toward her. "What's happening?" "The energy inside me," she said, voice steady. "It's reaching my core." She looked at him. "I can fight now." The door exploded inward. Lena raised her hand, and the air shimmered like a shield. Plasma blasts hit it and dissolved. Her voice rang like a bell. "No more hiding." Kai smiled, and for the first time since arriving on Moon 12, he didn't feel like a visitor. He felt like a soldier, standing beside someone who had just become a warrior. Kai and Lena moved through the dead zone of the station, an abandoned sector no one had entered in decades. Dust floated like ash in the air. Old warning signs blinked red and unreadable. Lena's light guided the way. Why would they hide? "This place?" Kai whispered. Lena didn't answer. She was focused, her eyes glowing stronger than before. Her body had changed. Her steps were lighter, her voice steadier, and something ancient seemed to live behind her eyes now. They reached a sealed metal door with strange carvings. It pulsed faintly, almost like it was breathing. Kai ran his fingers over the marks. "This isn't just tech. This feels alive." Lena nodded. This is the Chamber of Echoes, the place where the first ones were lost. With a soft touch of her palm, the door opened. Inside was a wide, dark room. Cold, silent. But as soon as they stepped in, the walls lit up. Thousands of glowing panels activated, revealing horrifying sights. Rows and rows of alien girls, frozen in clear tanks, their bodies suspended in glowing liquid, their skin pale, their eyes closed, all of them fading. Kai's heart stopped. They're still here, he whispered. You said they were gone. They are, Lena said quietly. This is what they become when no one bonds with them. The council says they fade into light, but they're trapped, frozen for energy. She pointed to the center of the room. A giant machine stood tall, humming, pulsing, connected by wires to every tank. Kai's hands trembled. They're being used, like batteries. Lena walked closer. The machine responded. Its surface glowed and began to spin. A voice spoke. From inside the machine, cold and ancient, energy absorption system status stable, core harvest rate optimal, emotional bonds incomplete, secondary sources required. Kai stared at the screen as data flashed, names, faces, energy levels, all marked as inactive, processed, preserved. They lied to your people, Kai said. They told everyone the girls were fading naturally, but they were stealing them, turning them into fuel. Lena's hands balled into fists. They erased our history. They made us think we were weak. Kai pointed at one of the tanks. A girl inside had her hand pressed against the glass, frozen, in fear. We have to stop this. We have to shut it down. Lena walked to the main console, but as she reached for the controls, a shockwave hit her. She stumbled back. It won't let me near, she said. This machine, it knows who I am. Kai stepped forward. Then maybe it doesn't know me yet. He placed his hand on the console, and everything changed. The machine screamed. Lights flickered. The tanks shook. Energy pulsed wildly. Lena shouted, Kai, stop, it's trying to pull you in. His skin lit up with the same white glow she had. His body trembled, but he didn't let go. Visions flashed before his eyes. The first bondings, alien girls full of power and fire, ruling the stars, then fear, control, chains, machines built to silence them. And then, he saw her, Lena, not fading, not weak, but crowned in light, surrounded by stars. The last of the Echo bloodline. Kai pulled his hand away. The machine shattered, energy exploded, out like a wave. The tanks cracked, liquid spilled. The girls inside collapsed onto the floor, alive but unconscious. Their energy drained. Lena rushed to one of them. They're breathing. They're alive. Kai fell to his knees, exhausted. I saw everything. They feared you, feared what you could become. Lena looked around, her voice heavy with grief. They took our voices, our future. Then her eyes turned toward the sky. But we're taking it back. As they helped the girls awaken, another alarm began. Unauthorized destruction of energy. Core high alert. Elite council forces inbound. Kai looked at Lena. What now? She stood tall. Now, we show them what happens. When the fading ones rise. Kai sat quietly beside the broken machine. Sparks still hissed from its core. The air around him felt heavy. Alive. Like something had entered his body. And wasn't leaving. He looked down at his arm. White lines were glowing beneath his skin. Moving slowly, like light flowing through a river. Lena stood nearby, watching over the fading girls they had rescued. Some were waking, some were still weak. But all of them were alive, because of Kai. How are you feeling? She asked. Softly, Kai blinked. Like something is inside me humming. That's not just something, Lena said. That's you. Awakening. What do you mean? She stepped closer, her eyes glowing brighter now, deeper, wiser. When you touched me, when you touched the machine, Your energy merged with ours. You didn't just help me. You changed. You absorbed part of our ancient memory. Kai stood up slowly. Then why do I still feel human? You are human, Lena said, touching his chest. But now, you carry the echo flame. It responds to emotion, pain, truth. A loud crash echoed from above. The ceiling split open. Elite council soldiers dropped down in armor, weapons raised. They were not like the regular guards. These ones were bigger, colder, and moved like machines. One of them pointed at Kai. Target confirmed. Execute the bond breaker. Stay behind me, Lena said, shielding him. Kai stepped forward. No, I've had enough of hiding. The first soldier charged with a plasma blade. Kai raised his hand on instinct and a white pulse burst from his palm. The soldier flew backward like a rag doll, crashing into a wall. Everyone froze. Kai looked at his hand in shock. I didn't mean to. You're learning, Lena said, eyes wide. 2 more soldiers charged. Kai dodged one, then twisted. His body moved faster than human speed. The second soldier tried to strike, but Kai touched his chest and whispered, Stop. The soldier froze, literally, his armor turning to stone, his body paralyzed. This is impossible, one council officer said. No human should have this much energy. Lena turned to them, voice fierce. He's not just human, he's what we were waiting for. Suddenly, more fading girls, now awake, stood behind them. Their bodies glowed like Lena's. They feel it too, she whispered. His presence is waking their cores. Kai looked around. I'm not trying to lead anyone. You don't have to, she said. You already are. The council soldiers retreated, sending an emergency call to the high chamber, but not before one of them dropped a black cube onto the ground. A voice spoke from it. Kai, human of Earth, by breaking the machine you have declared war. Surrender within 1 cycle or the next generation of fading ones will be erased forever. The message ended. Lena's eyes filled with fire. They won't stop. Not until we silence them. Not until we rise louder than ever before. Kai looked at the girls, some barely standing, some still holding each other, but all with light. In their eyes now, he raised his voice. Then we give them a reason to fear us. Not because we want war, but because we refuse to disappear quietly. And in that cold, broken room filled with survivors, something was born, not rebellion, but a reunion of power and purpose. Lena stepped beside Kai and held his hand. The light from both of them merged into a single flame, white, pure, and blinding, and the galaxy, watching from hidden screens, began to tremble. The sky over Moon 12 turned dark, not because of weather, but because ships were coming. Council warships. Black like knives, shaped like giant wings hovering above the atmosphere. Their lights blinked red, warning the whole planet that something was about to fall. Down below, inside the ancient chamber, Kai stood surrounded by over 50 alien girls, once fading, now glowing with life. Each one had bonded, not just with humans, but with hope. Lena stood at the center, her voice calm, but firm. They've sent the full fleet. They think we'll be scared. Kai clenched his fists. Maybe we should be. She turned to him, eyes steady. Fear isn't the enemy. Silence is. A girl named Rayleigh, one of the recently awakened, stepped forward. I was locked in a glass tank for 14 years. I forgot my name, my face, my voice. Now I remember. Another girl whispered, I want to live. Not hidden, not fading. I want to breathe without shame. Kai felt a lump in his throat. He looked at all of them, survivors of lies, and said, Then we fight. Not with guns, not with hate. We fight with the truth. And with light, Lena added. Outside, the ships began to land. Council soldiers spread across the mountains. Giant screen flickered on above the facility. The council's grand speaker appeared. Tall, cold, gold armor shining like the sun. This is your final warning, he said. Return the fading ones, surrender the human, or this station will burn. Kai stepped forward, calm. We're not fading anymore. The speaker narrowed his eyes. You are one human, one mistake. Do you really believe you can stop a council that rules half the stars? Before Kai could answer, something unbelievable happened. More lights appeared in the sky, hundreds of small ships, not from the council, but civilian crafts, transport vessels, old cargo haulers, and from them, more alien girls stepped out, each one glowing with soft light, each one standing tall. They had heard the signal. They had come, from across the galaxy, to say, "We are not invisible anymore." Lena's voice echoed across the valley, sent through every channel, every screen, every heart. You built systems to make us small, to make us fade, to make us beg for connection and die when we couldn't find it. But we found something greater. Not just a bond, but the truth. We are enough. The council speaker snarled. This is rebellion. Kai stood beside her and said clearly, this is resurrection. Soldiers charged, weapons powered up. But then, the girls glowed brighter. Not just soft light, blinding energy. The bonds between them and their chosen partners formed white arcs in the air, humming like thunder, bursting with raw power. The first wave of council, troops were thrown back without a touch, ships malfunctioned. The mountain itself began to shake from the energy pulsing through it. Lena's feet left the ground. She floated slightly, surrounded by light, and whispered, "Echo flame, awaken." Massive wave of power exploded out from her, not destructive, restorative. It melted weapons, erased codes, wiped security locks from the council's systems. For the first time in 1,000 years, the fading curse was undone. Kai held her hand, glowing just as bright, and together they stepped forward as equals, human and alien, not just breaking rules, but rewriting them. The galactic court was silent. A silver chamber the size of a stadium floated above a peaceful star, home of the High Council. Ships from every system hovered around it, their lights blinking, watching, waiting. Inside, Kai stood alone in a glowing ring of energy. His wrists were bound in light. Dozens of alien leaders stared down at him from their curved seats. Their robes shimmered. Their eyes were cold. Lena was not allowed to stand beside him. She was locked in a separate chamber behind thick glass, her face calm, but her fingers shaking. The court speaker stood. His voice echoed across the chamber. Kai of Earth, you stand accused of violating ancient alien law. You created a cross-species bond. You destroyed council property. You awakened forbidden knowledge. How do you plead? Kai looked up, unafraid. I didn't come here to plead, he said. I came to tell the truth. The court murmured. Some laughed. Others looked nervous. Kai continued. You call it forbidden, but all I did was touch her hand when she was dying. That touch, the speaker said coldly, caused a chain reaction that threatens our order. Kai nodded. Maybe it should. Your order lets innocent girls die. Your order hides machines that drain them like batteries. Your order fears life. A screen above him showed the hidden lab, the fading girls, the machine. Lena had sent the recordings before they were captured. A wave of shock swept the court. One elder stood up. Lies. This is doctored footage. It's not, said a new voice. The crowd turned. Lena had broken through her chamber. Glowing light dripped from her skin. She stepped into the court and said, I choose him. The room went silent. She pointed at Kai. I chose him when I was weak, when I was dying. Not because he was strong, but because he listened, because he saw me. And that choice saved me. An elder stood. He gave you power you weren't meant to have. No, she said. He helped me remember the power we always had. The echo flame was never gone. It was buried, locked away. And now, it's alive again. The screen changed, showing hundreds of alien girls across different planets glowing with white light. Each one bonded, each one awake, each one alive. Kai's voice shook slightly. I'm not a hero. I'm not special. But maybe that's the point. I did what anyone should have done. I cared. A long silence followed. Then, a small alien girl in the crowd stood up. Her arms were thin, her eyes full of fear. I faded once, she said quietly. I begged for help. No one came. Her mother stood beside her crying. Others stood, one by one. Survivors. Witnesses. The court was no longer a court. It was a mirror, a reflection of everything they had hidden. The speaker finally spoke. We cannot allow chaos. What do you ask of us, human? Kai looked at Lena. She gave a small, he stepped forward. Freedom, for the fading ones. For choice, for the right to bond with whoever gives them life. Not just by law, but by heart. Another pause. Then a surprise. The Emperor himself entered. Old, wise, powerful. His presence silenced the entire chamber. He walked slowly and stood before Lena. Your mother, he said softly, was my daughter. She faded because I forbid her bond. Lena's eyes widened. You are my granddaughter, he continued. And you are right. He turned to the court. Let them bond. Let them live. And just like that, the gavel struck. A new law was born, not through war, but through truth and love. Days later, back on Moon 12, Kai and Lena stood hand in hand beneath the stars. The facility was being rebuilt, not as a lab, but as a sanctuary. Lights danced in the sky. Alien girls laughed freely, touched freely, lived fully. Kai looked at her. You okay? She smiled. I'm alive, because you stayed. He grinned. You're glowing again. So are you. They didn't need more words, because in a galaxy full of silence, one human hand holding one alien heart was louder than 1,000 laws.